Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to react to 10 Chris Hansen to catch a predator criminals. Where are they now? Now, like, if you're one of these guys that, gets caught by Chris Hansen and the crew, I would suspect that your life as you have lived it up to that point is pretty much over because, you've been arrested on national TV for one of the most, disgusting crimes, if not the most disgusting crimes imaginable. Like, you've probably lost your job, you've probably lost your family. Like, it must just be over for you. But then again, I don't know, like, because there must be people who manage to maybe get professional help and kind of like those urges, they can get rid of them and they can live somewhat of a normal life maybe. I don't know. So it should be quite interesting to just see what happens to these people after they get busted by Chris Hansen. So yeah, this should be a really interesting one.
Behind your back! Behind your back!
Just lost my job.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we're looking at 10 Chris Hansen predator criminals. Where are they now?
I will get to that in a minute.
Look at him, still eating the pizza.
For this list, we'll be checking in on the most infamous criminals from the Dateline segment To Catch a Predator, as well as other shows hosted by Chris Hansen. Are you a Hansen fan? Let us.
Hansen's done other shows. I thought he was just known for this one show. I'll have to check those out. What are they? Let me know in the comments.
Know in the comments which of his shows you watch the most. Jeffrey Stacy. Jeffrey Stacy's back and forth with Chris Hansen included a lot of denial, lies, and basically anything to try and avoid taking responsibility for his actions.
And why did you think it was appropriate or legal to come here to meet a 15-year-old girl home alone?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Of course you know. Of course he knows.
This behavior continued after Stacy's arrest and into his interrogation, during which the suspect repeatedly threatened self-harm.
You have the right to remain silent. Do you understand that?
After choosing to be tried by a jury, Stacy was convicted of a felony criminal charge and sentenced to 6 months in jail. He was placed on probation afterwards and made to register as a sex offender for 10 years. Years later, Stacy got married to a woman named Leanne Cundiff Shaw, whom he later alleged was violent towards him. In 2021, he was found unresponsive in a Walmart parking lot, having passed away from drug intoxication.
Oh my God.
Charles Lawrence III. It isn't very often that Chris Hansen recognizes a suspect on his crime shows. And that's exactly what makes this case of Charles Lawrence III so interesting.
What are you doing here? Something strikes me. It looks familiar.
Lawrence used to work as an accountant and a real estate broker and would commute to work in New York City alongside Hansen. That's why when the host walks in to confront the suspect, you can see his surprised reaction as he recognizes Lawrence.
I know, but you'd have to explain this to her. Come here, man.
In an attempt to escape charges, the former accountant claimed to have misread the age of the decoy as a result of his poor eyesight.
My eye got scratched, so I can't wear my contacts, so I'm wearing these glasses. And I was downstairs, having a cup of coffee, and my glasses were upstairs. And I'm looking. I thought he said 18. I swear to God.
Nonetheless, he entered an Alford plea on 3 felony counts and was sentenced to 2 years in prison. He was released in 2018. Timothy Gilliam.
Wow.
Come on.
He tried it, he actually thought of a good excuse, but not good enough.
I mean, I didn't get to see you on the webcam or anything, so...
Timothy Gilliam was one of the suspects featured in the infamous episode of To Catch a Predator that was filmed in the town of Murphy, Texas.
I'm embarrassed.
Well, why are you embarrassed? We don't even know, you don't even know what you're here for.
It was this installment that ultimately led to the show's cancellation as a result of the botched arrest of Bill Conrad. More on that later. In light of the unfortunate circumstances surrounding that case, the Collin County DA's office decided to drop all the charges against the other men featured in the episode, including Gilliam. The businessman and his wife were later implicated in a criminal scheme involving large-scale fraud and embezzlement. While under investigation in 2011, the couple took their own lives.
This is a felony 3. I've set your bail at $50,000. Do you have any questions, sir? Thank you. You may be seated.
Stanley Kendall.
How you doing, Stanley? Doing good?
Yet another suspect arrested in Murphy, Texas, Stanley Kendall also had all charges against him dropped. Still, that didn't stop him from being routinely called out by members of the online community, the Church of God.
What was the lesson plan for tonight?
I'm sorry.
Sorry for what?
I thought this was a joke.
During the sting, Kendall revealed that he was a math teacher at a junior high school.
I teach.
He's a teacher. It's like, oh my God. So this guy, you know, he spends a lot of time with, you know, children. And he's obviously got these urges. Ugh.
Teach math.
And what grade do you teach?
6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
7th.
So you teach kids who are about the same age
as the one that you wanted
as the boy you thought you were going to visit tonight.
Yes.
His teaching license was, however, revoked by the Texas Education Agency after the details of his arrest later came to light. He was granted a substitute license in Indiana and worked as a substitute teacher there until someone recognized him from the show and alerted the school district. Kendall continued to chat online with various individuals posing as decoys before eventually succumbing to colon cancer in 2017.
I am truly sorry. And I'm not going to be in that chat room anymore. I have learned my lesson.
No,
Lorne Armstrong.
Hi, sir.
I don't know how to feel about a lot of these kind of tragic endings. But, you know, I have to remind myself of what they were trying to do here. You know, had they been successful?
How are you?
All right, how are you doing?
What's happening?
Not too much.
Speaking of the Church of Cod, the community was founded specifically to hound this To Catch a Predator suspect online. Lorne Armstrong was sentenced to prison following his appearance on the show.
Well, there's something I got to tell you. I'm Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC, and we're doing a story on it.
After serving his time, he made an ill-advised attempt at cashing in on his infamy by starting up a YouTube channel.
No.
This proved unsuccessful, as his videos recorded massive dislikes and fans of the show left comments that referenced his chat log with the decoy. In 2019, Armstrong was arrested after violating the terms of his parole and sentenced to 6 months in jail. Video footage later emerged of Armstrong at the 10-mile yard sale, with people at the event quoting his texts from the chat log. John Dupay.
Hey. I don't know. How do you guys feel about, you know, people like harassing, you know, these people? Because I don't know. Because I feel like if they live a life afterwards, you know, of legality, like they don't do anything related to this, they're trying to live a normal life. I think just leave them alone, I guess. I don't know. It's a tough one.
There's a seat right around that store right there front of us.
John Dupay appeared on the Hansen vs. Predator segments on the YouTube channel True Crime Daily. Dupay infamously bought the decoys snacks and attempted to bolt for the door after Hansen's interrogation.
Sir, if you want to leave, you should go out that door right there. He knows what happens next.
He was, however, arrested by the police officers and later sentenced to 8 years in prison upon pleading guilty. The terms of his plea also required him to register as a sex offender for 10 years.
At his court appearance...
My God, that face in the mugshot. Now that is what we call regret and fear.
10 years.
At his court appearance, other defendants were taunting him. Apparently, even the most hardened criminals think he crossed the line. Maybe an indication of what he can expect in prison.
While serving his time, Dupay's siblings were killed in an automobile accident, and he ended up experiencing homelessness after his release from prison. Dupay was arrested again in 2021 after violating the terms of his probation. He remained behind bars until June of 2022. Mike Manzi.
Hey, how are you? I'm good. Good. Why don't you have a seat right on that stool, please?
It's not really ending well for
The
any of
sting in
these guys,
Fairfield,
is it?
Connecticut led to the arrest of math tutor Mike Manzi. As Manzi's exchanges with the decoy weren't necessarily explicit, he was able to avoid any prison time and wasn't made to register as a sex offender.
There's something you need to know.
Is there cops?
There's something you need to know.
Please.
I'm Chris Hansen.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
An online investigation supposedly by the show's fans realized that Manzi was related to one of the members of the To Catch a Predator crew, and that an interaction between them was allegedly edited out of the episode.
This is horrible.
Since his appearance on To Catch a Predator, Manzi apparently lost his job as a tutor and seems to have made a living working retail jobs. Jeff Sokol. Jeff Sokol's appearance on To Catch a Predator was notable for the laissez-faire attitude he took when he was confronted by Chris Hansen.
Tell me who you are, because, I didn't know there would be
This guy, he's just casually eating the pizza. Like...
other people there.
Sokol faced 3 felony charges after his arrest and received varying prison sentences for each crime. He ultimately spent about 2 years behind bars, during which he unsuccessfully tried to change his name.
You can take your pizza if you like.
You want a slice?
I'm good, thank you very much.
Do you want a slice?
You guys.
After being denied parole once, the former insurance auditor eventually
I'm not gonna lie, that pizza did look pretty good.
gained his freedom in 2019 and was
Pepperoni.
required to register as a sex offender for 10 years.
Who are you? Can you tell me who you are first?
I will tell you that in a minute.
Other than this, Sokol has remained relatively low-key since his time on To Catch a Predator, with some reports suggesting that he has moved back in with his New England parents.
Isn't that all speculation to me?
Bill Conrad. It's the
I just don't know why get therapy, deep therapy, try and fix whatever it is that gives you this compulsion and just move to a different country. Try and start afresh.
Bill Conrad case that sits at the center of our aforementioned controversy within the To Catch a Predator sting in Murphy, Texas. This is because Conrad, a former assistant district attorney in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, ended his life prior to being confronted.
It was a devastating tragedy, a shock to all of us when the 56-year-old, a man who has prosecuted criminals for more than 2 decades, shot himself.
Although Conrad didn't physically travel to the Murphy Sting house, a SWAT team was called in to storm his home. This situation resulted in questions being raised that had long dogged To Catch a Predator. Was the segment ethical? Was law enforcement behaving improperly? What about the involvement of the controversial watchdog group Perverted Justice?
We anticipated there was going to be a fight, and by that I mean a legal fight. But we never anticipated anything like that.
NBC ended up...
What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of entrapment? Because I believe entrapment is legal in the US, where you basically, the police creates a scenario in which they can ensnare a criminal by getting them to commit an illegal act, whether it's selling, illegal substances or stuff like this. Do you think it should be legal? Here, I don't think it is legal. I don't think entrapment is legal. Because on one hand, you're catching criminals in the act, but on the other hand, if you didn't create that scenario, the crime wouldn't have been committed. So by you creating the crime, does that not make you kind of complicit? It's weird. It's a difficult one.
Up settling a wrongful death suit brought by Conrad's sister and ultimately canceled the show.
Ultimately, the decision was made that they didn't want to have me tied up for 3 months. They didn't want to have the other people tied up for 3 months. And when you settle a lawsuit like that, the settlement comes out of an insurance policy.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Rabbi David K.
Rabbi, wow.
Not something ever.
You've never done this before.
The unrepentant behavior of Rabbi David K. is something that seems to defy all logic. K. behaved aggressively during the interrogation segment with Hansen, and reports claim that the rabbi attempted to wipe his hard drive upon returning home.
No, come on, guy.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
You don't want it.
You've got to stop this.
Kay and his wife divorced shortly after the confrontation, and a criminal trial resulted in him serving jail time and being required to register as a sex offender for life.
However, earlier this week, he resigned his staff position, informing his employer he was going to be featured in this Dateline story.
The rabbi attempted to resume religious work, but this proved difficult, and he was eventually arrested for not adhering to the terms of his release. He was arrested again for accessing the internet against court order, and his status as an offender was raised to Tier 3, the highest on the scale.
Wow. A rabbi, crazy. Honestly, you just don't, it's almost like you can never really trust someone. You had a rabbi, you had teachers, you're trusting them with your children. like I used to be a teacher, and here in the UK, you have to get an enhanced DBS check, which is basically like an enhanced background check. You have to get that renewed every single year, and it's, you know, it's quite in depth. Like they check literally everything. But I'm sure there's, you know, you read about these stories where, you know, even in the UK, teachers going off with students and stuff like that. So it's like there's just no way to really know, like, if someone's capable of this kind of thing. And it's just it's sickening. Like, but it does give me the question, like, if you, like, one of the people, like, if you're one of the people on this show, and if you get sentenced, you go to prison, you do your time. After that, you get intense deep therapy or whatever, like you do whatever you can to get rid of these compulsions, and you live a life, like a legal life, you know, you like whatever kind of restrictions are placed on you, you abide by those. You know, should they still be harassed? Like, should they still be hounded by the public and reminded of what they did? It's a difficult one, because I guess on the one hand, like, if, like, you know, they did what they did and it's a disgusting thing, but on the other hand, it's like, I don't know, like, at what point do you kind of forgive someone if they, I don't know what to think. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.